Have you ever felt lost after reaching your goal? Like the fire kind of just fizzles out? Here's why it happens and the one strategy that keeps high performers moving forward. I'm Ian Hawkins, and this is Sport is Life. The purpose of sport as I see it is to see your vision become a reality. Find your voice, create strong connections, and learn to trust your body. A recent podcast guest, and pretty sure it was Rach Taylor, the Sydney Olympic silver medalist, but I do record these interviews some time ago, so if I've got that wrong, I apologise. Talking about the book, Climb the Next Mountain or something like that, but the concept was, there's always another mountain. Once you get to the top of a mountain, there's always something next, and that's what personal growth is like. That's what high performance is like. That's what leadership is like. You always need to know what that next thing is. And of course, there is an element of needing to be present in the mountain that you are climbing so that you can be focused on the important steps. What I've learned, particularly from a leadership and a high performance perspective, is it's important to know what the next mountain is. If you think about it, if you're climbing a mountain, you can kind of see the shadow of the next mountain looming over you, and you want to make sure you know what that is so that you've got a semblance of a plan, but also a focus that means you're going to continue momentum. So sometimes what happens with people is that they finish something, and because they're not sure what the next mountain is, then they get distracted, they lose focus, and they don't do the things that got them to the top of that mountain. And then they've got to sort of start from scratch, and they lose that consistency. They lose all momentum of moving in that forward direction, making that progress. So I'll equate it to what I used to find when I was doing regular, I call them fun runs. They were anything but fun, but I used to, running regularly, I like to test myself. This is probably going back 10 years ago. I like to test myself by doing events and seeing how I could go with bettering my time. And what I found was if I had the next event already booked in when I was running the particular event, then I would have some time off, because you do need to have some time off, but I would quickly get back into the flow of training, knowing I had the future event already planned, that I already had that next mountain that I wanted to climb in that particular area of my life. When I didn't have that focus, when I didn't know the next event, when I didn't know the next mountain, then that rest might go from 1 week to 2 weeks to 3 weeks to a month to 2, before then I would go, okay, I need to get myself organised again. I need to get myself back into, it's not like I stopped training, but get myself back into that really focused training of what I wanted to do next. And so the trap is that you get into this rhythm of, I just got to get to the end of this next thing and everything will be okay. And that's I'll be happy when attitude. You're trying to forward plan your happiness instead of coming back to the moment and keeping yourself in the moment, and then also have that plan for the future. Because if you're just trying to tick boxes, if you're just trying to get to the end of something, if you don't have that future focus, that consistency and momentum is not there. Personal growth, high performance is an exponential curve. And when you are just treating it one mountain at a time and you're not planning ahead and you don't have that momentum, that's when you're on that flat curve. But when you are able to continually future pace, look at yourself and how much you've improved and realize you're capable of more, have that next mountain in focus, not a sharp focus, but conscious of it, knowing that it's there, then that's when the exponential curve starts, and you can keep that exponential curve. And that's when you start hitting performances well beyond what you thought you were capable of. And each time you grow, you realize that, oh, wow, like I'm still playing too small here. I'm actually capable of so much more. Because the more you grow, the more consistency, the more momentum, the more of those strategies, abilities, skills, mentally, emotionally, the more of those you've got in place, the quicker that exponential curve will climb, and the more satisfaction you're going to get with your progress. Think about it now, how often you get into that mode when you're like, man, I really should be doing better than this. Like, I've let some things slide. I should have been further down the track with this. And it's usually because you're not focused on that next mountain. Now, don't get me wrong. It's important to rest, and it's important to have time off, and it's important to not always be go, go, go. But when you want to be a high performer consistently, and you want to have that fulfillment and purpose, satisfaction with what you're doing, and know within yourself that you are giving it all you have, all you've got, that you're not sitting there going, I'm going well here, but I know I've got so much more in the tank. Unless you're doing those things, then you're forever going to miss the levels of that internal feeling that you can get. So what's the mountain you're on, and what's the next mountain? And you might have a whole lot of projects going on in your life. You might have the health journey. That is such an important one. What are you working towards? What do you need to get in the right space? So working with some guys at the moment that they've got themselves into that physical, that routine of the physical health. And some of them are now going, okay, I need to improve my nutrition. So they're working on building that in. And then others are wanting to improve their mental strength and their focus and the mental calm. So they're getting into that meditation habit. But all the while, they keep working on these different areas. We continue to check in and go, okay, well, what's beyond that? And what's next? And yes, we need to focus here in the next week, but we also need to be conscious of it. And when that's happening, they're finding they're just so much more content within themselves. So for the different areas of your life, health, I got a bit off track there for a second, but if it's health, if it's business, career, family stuff, different relationships, there'll be something that you're sort of working towards. You'll get a general destination. It doesn't have to be definitive all the time, but you know where you're heading. But having that next mountain, it's going to change so much around that consistency, the momentum. And the one that, like I said before, is like that's going to have the biggest shift is just how much more satisfied you're going to be with your progress. Because the more comfortable you can get with who you are, where you're at, and just relax a little bit, not put yourself, release some of that that pressure that you put on those massively high expectations, then you're going to get so much more out of life. You're going to achieve better, interestingly, but you're going to enjoy yourself more. And there's nothing like finding that contentment of knowing that you've got the balance right, but you also know you're giving it all you can. You've taken the time to listen to this whole episode. Now it's time to take action. Commit to one thing you've learned today and make it happen. And to avoid any obstructions, join the Sport is Life movement by clicking on the link in the show notes.